ship canal even starts to lose its popularity over time. It was the right idea at the time though. We got 100 years use out of the Manchester Ship Canal. It's still there, but it's actually closed. I think it's open to canal traffic and some pleasure cruising. There will be some things it's used for. You might have to bring something into Manchester one day that's too large for the motorways, so it's still there, it's just not used. The company is dissolved that ran that canal. So we all know roads. It goes around Manchester in a circular, it goes around London in a circular. All the roads, A roads, go in from that circular to the centre and out, and then into the B roads, which go further into the older places. But now you'll just have Manchester with the ring road. That ring road probably goes through like 16 different places, and each one of those places was the central hub of loads of tiny little villages. There was so many shires in England and so many places. That's why everybody has a different accent. You can go 5 miles and you will have a different accent. That was because once upon a time we were all so cut off from one another, and suddenly the links were so sudden in the Industrial Revolution, we all started to mix up, and we noticed that we talk differently. But that's across the board, I'd say England. Don't know about Wales, individual accents, if you know what I mean. I'm not an expert in accents and vocabulary, but I know as an English person, town to town, everybody sounds slightly different, which I think is brilliant. I really do, I love that. So Tameside lies 7 miles to the east of Manchester's centre. It's comprised of 9 separate towns that were brought together in 1974, just as the motorway was being put in. I know that. The borough takes its name from the River Tame, which helped power the Industrial Revolution 2 centuries ago. During this period, a complex network of canals was constructed, which linked Tameside with the rest of the country. It's bringing in supplies of raw materials to feed the developing industries and thriving towns of Ashton-under-Lyne, Hyde, Mossley and Stalybridge. Today the canals they have a new role, providing leisure and recreational opportunities for many people: walkers, anglers, historians, canoeists, canal cruisers and many others. Engineers, of course, civil engineers. This is the first civil engineering structure in the world. Everyone just sort of sees it as a stream or something. Like the Manchester Ship Canal, I don't know how many metres it is, but it had a team of like 40,000 people working on it for 10 years. It was a major project. So there you go. That's like building the pyramids. The Panama Canal's twice as long, and that goes right through the centre of North and South America. So it's amazing, really. The whole things are, amazing. So I'm trying to explain the story of the 3 separate canals: Peak Forest, Ashton and Huddersfield Narrow, their rise and their decline, and then a rebirth. So they get shut down in 1960s, get treated very poorly, no respect for history whatsoever, basically, just as though they're not there, just smashed in, people nick the bricks off them. It's ridiculous, really. There was so much damage done to them in the space of time they were closed. So then they get restored in the 70s by enthusiasts. By the 80s they get in funds from people to help. National Lottery starts around the 90s, putting it to improve areas, projects to improve areas for social living. So the canals have survived, they've been brought back to life, but in a different way, because these you would have seen lots of activity on. Only 60 years ago it stopped. That's what I mean, the road swap with this infrastructure only as late as that. But we're like my generation, my age, I'm a certain age where I only remember the life of cars and buses and trains and Arndale centres and phones. And all that is brand new. The calculator was only invented in 1976. We're all probably used to using a calculator. We probably laugh at how many calculators we have lying around the home. But it was only invented in 1976, and it would have cost quite a lot of money at the time. And they probably had to invent a display. The liquid crystal display was invented for it, and we've grown up in the digital world, which has just become more and more digital with time. So in these playlists, what I've tried to do is explain the canals from Portland Basin, not including Manchester just yet, but I'm going to follow Ashton into the town centre, as I said, to finish all the videos. So this will be one playlist, and Huddersfield. I'll go as far as I can. There is a tunnel on there that's so many miles long, goes through the Pennines, but I don't know how far away it is, and there's no point in walking to that on foot, because you can't walk through the 3.5 mile tunnel with no footpath. So there you go. I can always say insert that tunnel, and it was amazing to me, but we can't really film anything, to be fair, and there's lots and lots of footage of it already, which is a shame. I don't think I can come up with any more original ways of filming the tunnel. So there you go, that'll probably just get dropped, and I'll tell you how to search for footage of it. And of course I've not forgot to tell you the story about the young lad. So 6 people were pulled from the wreckage alive, with the broken bones and severed limbs. 10 were found dead, 1 was put away, 1 years old. But they went to one of the best hospitals in the area, with the Manchester Ship Canal's own private hospital for the staff. I'm sure they recovered steadily and so on. So Mr. Pratt, with the young guy, was brought up at Chester County Police Court charged with manslaughter. Judge has commented on the fact of such a small boy. The train, for what is known as the dead-end incline, leading down at this point to the rock cutting, and the wagons and engines fell over the side of the cutting into the bottom among the gang of men, as described. Gas lamps were lit, so it was poor sighting. Incline was very steep along the canal bank. The wagons were running on the main line, turned off on a siding to enable, so they've gone into a full inquiry. In fact, the newspaper article that I am reading, I actually have to edit on my phone so I could remember the article properly. You would be amazed at how much detail is in the old newspapers. It's literally written down the whole court case if you want to read it. Instead of now where the press dictates what is actually printed, this is just the facts of the courtroom. The whole case is basically in black and white, which I find a lot better, to be fair. If you want to know the news and you want to find out more details, it's the best way, isn't it? So he was remanded. The full inquiry has pointed out that he's just far too young to be tried. Remanded, I think it sort of means let off, but I think he may have had to go to a gospel. He probably shoved him in the army, something like that. He wouldn't have got away with it. Certainly wouldn't be working on the trains again. But I'm not laughing. 10 people died, 16 altogether were affected, and 6 others were actually on the train and jumped for their lives and actually lived. What happened was, he thought empty trucks were coming down the line, and his job was to change their direction and shunt them out of the way of the full speed train that was about to come through. The full speed train came through first, not the empty cargo. He sent the full speed train hurtling down into the ship canal. There you go. It's an accident, isn't it? It's a horrible accident. He'd probably have to live with the rest of his life, which was probably quite short if the navvies got hold of him. That's Mancunian sense of humour. I've told you I've got that. I'm not laughing at the people. I like the article. I like the point of interest of history. So Manchester UK, brief videos of time. Just to show you I'm actually live. I'm here and it's raining. But it often does rain in Manchester. But a lot of people were losing their lives constructing these things and no electronics. And people who argue that electronics, they shouldn't be driving cars. Well, trains have a lot less accidents and things like that. Now they're electronically controlled. So, who knows? Right, so next time I'll explain how lock gates actually work. How you open the top one once it's full, water can drop down, etc, etc. But this is to explain a bit about history and the reason why we're doing it. I only covered a mile, so there's no point in talking about the canal and ruining the information. It gets brilliant, this canal, as it goes up. Very pretty. I'll tell you who designed it, who built it, who fell in, who fell out with people, what businesses made money, what didn't, etc, etc. Take care everybody. Thanks for watching, please like my videos. It's Manchester City's football ground, the Etihad Stadium. So I came to the Ashton Canal today to get that underway as well. I know I'm doing Bridgewater at the same time, but the idea is, because I'm linking them all together, to have a look round. So just in the interest of not being biased, this is the other football team from Manchester. But we've been rained off. Typical football comment, that. Yeah, so the Scout, I can't really get a good video in this sort of weather and this grey, but this is what Manchester normally looks like. This is what you're dealing with to try and get decent filming done.